August 21st, 1981, the drunk driver took on an entirely different viewpoint to me. My wife and I were on vacation in the state of West Virginia, and as a lieutenant colonel in the state police, I was required to be able to be contacted 24 hours a day. And on the 21st, about 6 o'clock in the evening, I saw a West Virginia state trooper pull up in front of the place we were staying, and I told my wife that I thought we were about to receive some bad news. And the reason I said that is because the way he got out of the police car, I could tell that he didn't want to get out of the police car. He didn't want to come up and knock on the door. But he came up and knocked on the door, and I answered the door and identified myself as Lieutenant Colonel Lowen. He said, there's been an accident, and he handed me a piece of paper with the telephone number on it. And I noticed that it was my daughter Sharon and her husband, my son-in-law, Bert Robertson, number. And I called. He had known the details about the accident. I called, and a lady answered the phone, and I asked for either Bert or Sharon, and they said that they're both on the way to Johns Hopkins Hospital, that Brian had been struck by a drunk driver, and they couldn't tell me what his condition was. So I called the aviation division at Pikesville, and it was really odd. I got the pilot that had flown Brian to Johns Hopkins answered the phone. And I told him who I was, and I asked him what Brian's condition was, and he had a lot of difficulty telling me that Brian was dead on arrival at Johns Hopkins. So my wife and I left immediately to come back to Maryland. And the night of the viewing, as I looked in the casket and saw that little 8-year-old fellow laying there, I realized for the first time in my life that Brian would forever be 8 years old. He wouldn't be able to do the things that I have done in my life. Play sports, graduate from high school, graduate from college, date, get married, raise a family, have a career. All those things were gone as a result of that fatal accident. The person who struck Brian was intoxicated. The thing that stopped the vehicle was Brian's body and his bicycle. He had 2 females with him at the time, and they yelled a number of times, "Watch out for the little boy in the bicycle." His blood alcohol content was 0.19. He was taken before a commissioner and was instructed he was released on his own recognizance and told to stay out of the bar the rest of the night. About a half hour later, the state police saw him in the bar getting drunker again. And he was not convicted of homicide by intoxication, even though the officer proved that he was intoxicated. And that's all you need to do in DWI. Cases is to prove that the person was intoxicated. He was found guilty of driving on a revoked license and driving intoxicated. But as far as homicide by intoxication, he was found not guilty. He was sentenced to jail, and 3 months later he was out, driving again intoxicated. And the fact is, sometime after that, he was arrested for DWI and striking a car, and he was sentenced to 2 years that time, I believe, and was out again in 2 or 3 months. And he was reporting to his parole officer and the alcohol rehab place that he was sent to. He was reporting there intoxicated, and they didn't do anything about it. In fact, he violated his parole, and he went over into Delaware, and he may be back in Maryland now. I don't know. I've lost track of it, but the system, while you blame him for Brian's death, you need to blame the system too.